Pax8 Beyond 2025. What an event. Third year they've had it. I've had the great pleasure of being there for all three. This one was the biggest. It was over 3,400 total attendees, 2,400 partner registrations, like over 40 breakouts and over 40 education sessions. It was, the entertainment was fantastic. Snoop Dogg came out and performed. It was a really, really great event. Podcast was there, of course. We had a whole podcasters row. I think there was 10 of us. It was fantastic. It was done very, very well. I was able to, me and my team, we conducted 24 interviews, had 24 great conversations there in Denver. Kathleen Lord, lessons from the saddle, grit, growth, and tech insight. Great conversation with Kathleen. Aaron Pederick, yes, coaching cybersecurity and real life comebacks. Fascinating story Aaron has. Shlomi, of course, I've known Shlomi Jan for a little while now. Really insightful. Really like talking to Shlomi. Kim Simmons, my goodness, what such energy, such life. I hope to be working more with her and her team. They were gracious enough to invite me to a dinner. It was they've got a great product, smarter. The name of the episode is Creativity Meets Contracts. Colin Britton, of course, Formula One to Intune. Great partner there. Colin, great conversation with Intune with his great platform. Marco LaVecchia, data, purpose, and the MSP playbook. Great conversation with Marco. Rex Frank, my old friend. I've known Rex for, 15, 20 years. He's there at Pax8. Really knowledgeable. Learned some things about him I didn't know during our conversation. Oh my goodness, Lorna Berman. What a delight. What an absolute delight to talk to Lorna and her team riding Malibu and running MSP ops. She's got a horse named Malibu, but great insight, great platform they had there too. Tom Harshbarger. My goodness, I've known Tom since he was at Microsoft about 20 years. Now he's with this great firm, Metallica, misconfigs and mindset. We talk a lot about that. Great conversation with Tom. Lewis, of course, Begdanis from Uvilla. Great conversation. I start off with cooking. I like to cook, and he does too. Meatball Mindset and MSP projects. Darren Swan, great conversation with Darren. I've known Darren for a little while now. Enjoyed talking to him. Opened the conversation with Vinyl, Espresso, and Cyber Trust. Pinar, yes, I love speaking with Pinar. Pickleball, Possums and Proactive Security. Great conversation with Pinar, CEO of that great firm. Tanya, of course, got to know Tanya. We had a great conversation on the phone before we met there and had the conversation in Denver. Tanya Alfonso from Kitchen to Cybersecurity. Damo, I love talking to Damo, of course, from Super Ops. Barbells and AI for MSPs. Great conversation with Demo. Charlie Tomio. I've known Charlie for 15, 20 years now. Great talking. We talk about, phishing and MSP automation, the great Roost platform. Ryan Etteridge, Black Belts and CyberCert. Great conversation with Ryan. Fascinating insight. The martial arts plays on people's lives. Joe Saunders, cigars, securities, and self-reflection. Great conversation with Joe. Rob Ray, been in the community for, I've known him since he was even before Dado, fellow Connecticut resident. Great talking to Rob. He's doing great things there as vice president there at Pax8. Drew Schlessel, of course, great talking about their Wasabi platform. We actually became a partner as well. The platform is so good. Chance Weaver, AI adoption. He's there at Pax8 talking about his great story and how he got there, but he's working on AI adoption at Pax8. Christopher Marquez. I've had the good pleasure of knowing Christopher for a little while now. We talk about Chile, coaching and cyber threats. Really great insight from Christopher. Chris Day, been in the, my goodness, I've known him since, from IT Glue all the way where he is now at ScalePad. Been in the system for a long, been in the channel, the community for a long time. Gene Kim, surfboard, security, and staying operational. Enjoyed talking to Gene. I had the chance to meet him at Secure, ConnectWise Secure. And lastly, Ken Tripp, Microsoft Copilot and compliance. Great conversations there at Pax8 Beyond 2025. Incredible event. Can't wait to see what they come up with next. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because I was working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Why do you have a 66 Mustang? Why that? I mean, that's a beautiful car.
Are we on the record now?
Of all cars, that's a great one to start with. Do you have a Mustang history?
My 66 Mustang, my grandpa Rex bought new. For all of the reasons that Lee Iacocca created that car, right? It was sporty, and the kids, like the boomer generation was coming in, right? And all the families were really one car families. And Lee Iacocca designed this specifically to be sporty, so that the boomers that were in high school would like it, but also it had a big enough trunk that mom would like it.
Interesting.
And it was specifically designed to hit that demographic, and that's why Ford sold 1 million of them between 65 and the middle of 66. They hit the 1 million mark, which is unprecedented in the 60s for a car.
It's still a coupe. It's still two-door.
Mine's a two-door coupe, not a fastback or convertible, but 3 of my dad's younger brothers, it was their first high school car. And then later, my mom was a little bit older, the mid-20s when she got her driver's license. And she was, dating my dad, but because it was an automatic, she took her driving test in Southern California in this car.
Wow.
And then in 1985, I got it as my first car. So it was my high school car.
Whoa. In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection, powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza Dash MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza Dash platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow.
And I just never got rid of it. It had some mechanical problems. I stopped driving it in the 90s, late 90s. And I've just drug it around ever since. In like 2002, I started doing some work on it, and then ended up buying a 2004 Mustang Cobra.
Whoa.
So the work I did just sort of stopped. So the last time I drove this car was probably 1998.
Whoa.
I did a bunch of work on it, and that's when it got painted chrome yellow off a 96 Mustang. I figured 30th anniversary. But I got it out 2 years ago and put a lift in my garage.
Whoa.
And tore it down to just bare metal.
Really?
And started building what they call a pro touring. So it's late model suspension, coilover suspension.
Oh, wow.
It's got, I just fit the 2023 Mustang drivetrain in it.
Did you really?
About a month ago. So, it's going to have electric seats and power windows and backup camera. So I'm building it to where it's very streetable. But if I want to take it on a road course or the drag strip, it'll do just fine. So.
And what's the engine? It's 8-cylinder. It's
It's they call it a Coyote motor. It's a 5-liter.
Jeez.
It's the same motor that's in an 18 to 23 Mustang, fuel injected. So it's it'll probably be another year before I really drive it. Hopefully less, depending on how busy I am at Pax8. But
horsepower,
460.
Jeez.
At the crank. So, but I think the car will probably weigh about 2,500 pounds.
Wow.
So, the power to weight ratio is going to be a lot of fun. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get back in the driver's seat on that car one of these days.
Have you been building cars? I mean, I couldn't even think about taking.
Well, I took auto shop in high school.
Just a couple years ago.
Blows my mind. My son my youngest graduates high school tomorrow.
Wow.
So I actually have to leave today. So he graduates tomorrow, and I was thinking about it. My oldest, Ashley, started kindergarten in 1995. So tomorrow will be the last day on a 30-year run of getting a kid to school every day.
Wow.
So that's kind of sitting on me a little bit.
Yeah. In a good way?
Yeah. Just, there's more gray in the beard.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is because of those kids.
We're here at Pax8 Beyond 2025, the third event, right? Because I've been to all. Yeah.
This is number 3.
It's number 3. What are some of your goals this week, Rex? Here in Denver.
Oh, the Agentic AI managed intelligence provider. I don't know if it's a transformation or a revolution. I think it's going to come at us fast. I'm leaning toward revolution. It reminds me a lot of when we made that VAR to services transition, right? Like we had to really recast our business models and some of the people that were in the company, and then we made the transition from services to managed services in sort of the 90s, and then in the 2000s we made that transition to the cloud, right?
Yes.
We did a lot of work on the cloud, and those are massive business transformations.
Seemed like it.
Our profit models completely changed.
Yeah.
The way we sold, the way we interacted with our end clients changed. And we're on the eve, or maybe even New Year's Day of that happening again, right?
Wow.
We have to figure out how to do this, right? Like it's we heard Scott Chasen talking today. He's our futurist, right? Our visionary.
Sure
he was
is.
painting a picture of where we're going with the academy coaching. We have to live in the today. So it's like, what's the reality for today? And we're trying to figure it out. We're finding those progressive partners that we have that are already getting into this and putting together a working group so that we can develop this in a scalable way that we can reach our 40,000 partners. So it's today's kind of the start of a new era of trying to figure out how to do a new business model again. I've said this a few times recently that if you ask any of our partners what they're best at, they're probably going to say technology.
Yep.
But I would argue that, from 1982, when the PC came out until now, we've really transformed our businesses 5 times, right? So I would almost argue they're best at transitioning their business to the current business model.
They stay nimble. They have to.
You have to. I mean, we're in a industry where our technology changes every 3 to 5 years, right? I'm always telling technicians, that they have to completely refresh their technical knowledge every 3 to 5 years. And then I'm always telling the people that we're coaching into a leadership role that everything you learn as a tech, 3 to 5 year lifespan, everything you learn as a leader or a manager compounds on itself for a lifetime.
Wow.
And so we're working to keep that message out there. AI is the tech that's going to change what we're doing.
What draws you to MSPs, Rex? You've for a long time. I mean, you love it, don't you? You love working with MSPs.
I absolutely love it. I made a cover of CRN with Oli in February of 2004.
Wow.
And the story was about us, having progressed far enough in our own managed services practice that we were starting to help allow other non-MSPs to sell managed services through us. So we were on an education effort, and I found that I really liked that education part of it. And actually, my name is Stephen Rex Frank, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was starting to get some time on panels, and I remember there's a publication called Stacks, the network journal, that asked me to do an article on doing network management remotely. And when I published that was when I decided to publish under Rex, because it was more of a unique name.
Interesting.
Right? And that turns out to be, like, it's really worked out for me to build the Rex Frank brand along with the brand of the companies that I've worked with. And that's, like, I would recommend anybody that is interested in serving the community that they start building their personal brand in addition to the brand of the company that they're working with. And
C-Level was wonderful. You had a great organization.
So, I was active in the peer groups, right? Like, I would try to share, but I learned that the more I shared, the more I learned from other people. And then that kind of creates this compounding effect. And the peer group membership really kind of cemented that for me from 2004 through 10. And more owners were asking me to help their service manager, right, do things the way that I was doing it. And that's why I founded C-Level. The name C-Level was actually a play on words, where
SEA.
the letter C dash level,
Right.
C-suite, but being founded in Seattle. And the reason that was important to me, I was taking the underground tour in Seattle, and they talked about kind of the roots of Seattle, and they were basically a lumber town. And then the gold rush happened in the Klondike, and all these would-be miners were rushing from the U.S. up into Canada, and they were totally unprepared for the realities of the Canadian winter.
Wow.
So Canada closed the border, and they said, look, you can't cross unless you have this long list of supplies. And Seattle recast itself to outfit the miners headed up to the gold rush.
Interesting.
And it just really fit with me. What I learned on that underground tour was, like, Seattle is outfitting the miners for their journey, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is outfit the MSPs for their journey. So that's why I put the SEA in the company name. And I didn't necessarily understand the impact we were going to have. And nowadays, I don't know, once a month maybe, I get a phone call from an owner that had a successful exit or hit a milestone that they were chasing, and they would they're calling to tell me that they did that and thank me for the work we did to help them get there.
Yeah.
And that makes the goosebumps come up. And
impact.
And I was talking to Todd Shorley, one of the coaches that's here presenting this week, and he was an early client, and he had a successful exit to Compass, I believe, and but he started coaching with me for something to do, and he told me he didn't really understand the goosebump feeling, why I kept saying that.
Right.
Now that he's been with me a couple of years, 5 or 6 years, he said, I didn't understand that until about 2 years ago when I started having those same impacts, right? And then he was telling me how he started getting the goosebumps when he'd hear about it. And so to your question, those goosebumps are the reason that I love doing this.
Hey, Joey Pinz here. Want to take your podcast experience to the next level? I'm excited to invite you to become a YouTube member. It's the absolute best way to support the channel and enhance your connection. Join our amazing community and unlock the incredible perks, custom loyalty badges, exclusive emojis, and priority comment replies. Your voice will always stand out. Be the first to watch new videos with early access, receive special membership shoutouts, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and updates. Dive into content available only to our members, special videos, deep dives, and insider perspectives. Engage directly with me. Suggest podcast topics you want to hear, and even get personalized video shoutouts. Hit the join button right now and become part of something special. Let's build this amazing community together. I can't wait to welcome you as a new member. Join the Joey Pinz family today.
So cool. So generally speaking, I talk to MSPs all the time, just like you do. The three things that keep them up at night has been pretty consistent over the last 5 or 6 years. First being security. They worry about their clients getting attacked, and they have to allocate all resources. They're, fixed rate. They're probably going to get fired
or sued.
They're sued.
Risk.
Yeah. Number two is human capital, right? They're worried about if their techs leave, how they're going to replace them, how they're going to get new techs. And third is just general growth. They're usually tech-led. They're not good at sales and marketing. How does Pax8 help with these?
Well, you kind of hit on some big drivers for why Academy exists, right?
Yeah.
The reason Pax8 acquired C-Level was during COVID, the 2000 year there, they were talking to their fastest growing partners, and apparently working with C-Level was a common denominator. And they're like, we want more of that for all of our partners. So we came over, and while C-Level was just one-on-one coaching, Craig Donovan, now our Chief Experience Officer, I think is his title, but he really zeroed in on, hey, we have to meet partners where they are, which is their 4 maturity levels. From everybody reports to the owner. Second one is kind of owner service manager. Third is more of a leadership team. Fourth is these multi-geography kind of companies. And with what they want to learn, which we kind of decided is just grow and mature your business content, but it's also on the vendor content we have out there, we're trying to teach why you would pick one of these vendors, how they fit in the market for the business development side of the house. But we're also trying to teach the technical side of the house a little bit about like the jump start, so they can start using these tools. And then in the way they want to learn. And we define that as on demand, kind of like a gym membership, right? You just go to the gym, use the machines, right? That's our on-demand content that's available to all of our Pax8 partners. Just go use it, right? And we've put a lot of work over the last 4 years into taking that original C-level content and creating an on-demand self-paced learning course. Or you can take a spin class or a yoga class, and we call that our instructor-led training, where I think we have close to 40 instructor-led training courses in market around all that content targeted at the different maturity levels. But yeah, we try to limit enrollment to about 20 people so you can have good interaction with the instructor. Maybe it's a 4 to 10 week course, an hour or two a week kind of thing. Or, you can get the personal trainer, and that's the one-on-one coaching. Obviously, that has a little bit more of a price tag to it. Really excited in our Voyager Alliance that we have tiered pricing associated with your different Voyager Alliance tiers now for coaching and instructor-led training, as well as our fourth option, which is the peer groups. And those are meant to be really intimate, where kind of what happens in the room stays in the room with one of our coaches typically as a facilitator, and just making sure everybody's working their way through. I've been rambling. I forgot the question, actually.
3 things that keep MSPs up at night.
Yeah,
security, human capital.
Yeah,
growth.
So security, right? We've got a lot of training around that to try to mitigate the risk that you're carrying. A lot of education around the solution stacks, the CIS control alignment, the written security policy, and last year our partner experience team worked really hard to put together what we call guided growth, which is a whole program around understanding the problem with security, understanding how you solution it, take it out to your partner, to your end clients. And then how we bring that into the local, regional level with academies. So ton going on there. We've got security professionals in Academy and ProServe ready to help partners address that part of it. The human capital one, when you're asking me the question, a phrase came to mind like it's really expensive to train my team, and what happens if they leave? Right? And my instant response to that is, well, how expensive is it if you don't train them and they stay, right? But what I found is, employee satisfaction training is one component, but giving them autonomy, mastery, and purpose, like they talk about in the book Drive. And working with your teams, keeping them focused, giving them purpose, right? Setting your goals. This is what we're doing. This is your role in achieving that. Taking compensation off the table. So you're paying the right amount to where that's not the thing they're thinking about. In my world, especially in the engineering world, we tie compensation to productivity. So as long as they're doing the productivity, I don't really care how much we pay, right? So you just have to tackle people to understand what their needs are and align that with the needs of the company, and people stay. I do think I have that figured out, and C-Level was acquired a little over 4 years ago. And I brought 19 people with me, and all 19 of them are still with me at Pax8 4 years later. So
that's huge.
I'm a big believer autonomy, mastery, and purpose is how you get that done. And you have to give everybody training opportunities. I have a training budget for each person, and I'm disappointed if they don't use it. Right? That's the way you have to think about it. What was your third question?
Growth. 3 things to keep up at
MSPs
up at night.
So C-Level almost always got engaged, and now Academy coaching almost always gets engaged when somebody's at a plateau, right? They sort of hit that $1 million mark, and then they're not growing anymore, or they've hit the $3 million mark and they're not growing anymore. And I found that it's almost always ties back to the rule of 7. No manager should have more than 7 direct reports. And so that means everybody reports to the owner, and that gets you to 7 to 8, 9 employees. And then most owners pick their best tech, promote them to service manager, but have no idea how to teach them how to stop being a tech and start being a manager, which is why Academy coaching exists, really. But they need to take ownership of that and take that hat off of the owner. And that frees the owner to focus more, to feed the machine with sales, and a little bit more time with marketing or asking for referrals is usually where it comes from. But then they can grow to about 15-ish employees. And guess what? Rule of 7 becomes a problem. So now you need to establish more leaders in the company. And then as the company grows, you go through this transition from where there's one person doing 3 jobs. And so let's say somebody's doing proposals, procurement, and dispatch. They don't need to put anything in a system. It's all in their head, and they will do a fantastic job. They do not need to use a system. But you grow a little bit, and now you've got one person doing proposals, another person doing procurement, and another person doing dispatch.
Right.
And now you have to put more in the system, and that's kind of that second maturity level. But now you have to completely recast the way you do things and leverage putting data in a system somehow. And then you grow a little bit more, and now you have multiple people doing proposals, multiple people likely doing procurement, and multiple people doing dispatching. And now, what the one person doing dispatching could keep in their head has to be put in a system. More stuff has to go in the system. But what becomes really the hardest part of all this is if you can't be on one side of a plateau and get to the next plateau without starting to do things the way you have to do it to be at the next level. But the problem is, and this is what I found is really the key, is when you're teaching the person doing the job before you move to the next plateau, it just feels like extra work to put a bunch of stuff in a system that they don't need for where you are now. But they have to do extra work to exist at the next plateau. And that's the reason that there's so much resistance to doing things the new way, because it doesn't feel like you need it now. And that's why companies don't bounce to the next plateau.
It is a conundrum there, isn't it? Because they're so used to doing things a certain way.
Right.
And they're not scaling properly. I know I told you the story, Rex, but I started the MSP back in the 90s, was working way too hard. I'm at the doctor's office. She tells me I'm at 340 pounds. She says, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. So I lost about 120 pounds, kept it off. People ask me how. I say discipline. How does discipline play a role in your life? Stephen, Rex, Frank.
Stephen, Rex, Frank. That was really weird. It was like I was in trouble with my mom again. That's what I used to hear. Stephen, Rex, Frank. Discipline, I'm going to tie it to acting with urgency a little bit. That's sort of been one of my mantras, is once you decide you're going to do something or you set a goal, for me, I tie it to urgency. I need to get this done so I can achieve that goal by that time so I can be prepared to move on to the next thing. And as long as I carry that sense of urgency with me. I remember being in one of my HTG meetings when I worked with Jamison West, and I remember one of the other peer group members saying, how do you guys always achieve these lofty goals? And the first word that came to my mind was urgency, acting with urgency. And it's, for me, I had kind of a similar thing. In 2000, I got roped in literally to climbing Mount Rainier. And I was carrying an extra 30 pounds, kind of like I am right now. But I was carrying an extra 30 pounds. And for me, the motivator to lose the weight was I'm going to climb. I'm going to do 9,000 feet of elevation gain with 38 pounds on my back, right? And I figured that's about 20,000 steps up, like walking up a set of stairs with 20,000 steps. And I thought, man, every pound I lose, that's 20,000 pounds I don't have to lift today, right? And that was a massive motivator.
Right.
I ended up doing the keto thing and a lot of exercise training, a lot of outdoor hiking, elevation gain, hiking, carrying weight. And I wanted to get a free backpack. I wanted to lose 38 pounds so that I could feel like I didn't have a backpack. I reached 30. I did lose 30 pounds, but that was one of the best examples of self-discipline because, man, you want that piece of bread bad, right? And having that goal in mind that I want to stand on top of Mount Rainier is what kept me all day, every day, not eating that piece of bread and getting up at 6 o'clock on Saturday morning or meeting people at 6 o'clock on Saturday morning to do a training hike. I guarantee you if I didn't have that peer group, which is why I love peer groups so much, there's no way I would have got up and gone by myself. Things like the things that help me the best with my own like personal fitness is I have to tell somebody I'm doing things and I have to sign up and pay money. So like if I was going to run a half marathon, I had to sign up and pay money, but I also had to tell people.
Interesting.
And not wanting to let the people down, I would make sure I did my training runs. And I think that's a lot why when we set goals, rocks or OKRs, whatever you want to call them in the business, I think you have to do those same things, right? You have to have the consequences of not achieving the goal, AKA paying money, but you have to be public about where you are. Like, we have achieved this, we've achieved this milestone, this milestone, this milestone, and not wanting to let other people down, for me, is what creates that discipline that we stay on track.
Urgency, very interesting. So Rex, your message to MSPs this week here is what?
My message this week is understanding the horizons, right? A visionary needs to live a couple years out, and we heard that from Scott Chasen today. And that's a reality. Like, that's a freight train coming at us that we cannot avoid, right? It's coming. It hasn't hit us yet. It's just maybe we're starting to feel the wind or something. I'm terrible with analogies, by the way. But it's time now to get your team. I love what Travis from Microsoft was saying about be customer zero, right? Right now is the time to be customer zero with this AI technology, even if you're starting with the generative AI, with the co-pilots and the chat GPTs. But you have to be starting now internally. And what will be coming is the industry is going to start figuring out how to monetize this, right? The Agentic AI is coming at us. And we have network engineers. We don't really have anybody on our staff now, likely, that's going to create agents. And maybe we have a VCIO, but this is going to require an entirely different kind of conversation with your customer at a business process level, at a business level, that we may not have people on our teams now.
Wow.
And we're going to have to make the decision. Are we skilling up somebody in the organization as an owner? Are we going to go skill up and play that role for a little while? Are we going to rely on somebody on our team? I've been very open that I had a bit of a tough journey with this AI thing. And I turned 55 this year. And I've been through a lot of industry transitions. And I did struggle for probably half a year on, do I have it in me to dive into this and lead my academy team through this and be a thought leader as we lead the industry through another revolution in our industry.
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypinz.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it.
And I just wasn't sure I wanted to do it. And the reason I'm saying this is I think a lot of our customers and a lot of our partners are in that same mindset right now. But the more I learned about it, the more I realized this is here, this is coming, this is now, that now's the time to start transitioning. The more excited I got about looking to become an industry thought leader, because I'm working with so many partners as they're on their own journeys, and some of them are more advanced, and we're going to learn, and we're going to take that back to the community and get in this iterative cycle. Go on your own journey with AI. Start playing with it. Start using it. Get your team. Mandate your team. We have a goal in all of Academy that every Academy member is taking an AI course.
Wow.
This quarter. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Rex, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, how should they do so?
R. Frank, very complicated spelling.
At Pax8.com.
At Pax8.com, yeah.
Of course, you're on LinkedIn as well as Rex Frank.
Yeah, yep, Rex Frank.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Joey Pinz.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.